It is finally here, the season and series finale, I should say, of the XBA. It's been a fun ride. It's been a fun 2.5 years since October 2019, but here we are, and we are going to get through this thing. I have a little mini Ask Me Anything towards the end, pre-selected questions, and we are going to simulate all of Season 7 here and have some fun towards the end of the video. But let's start here with free agency. These are the players that were due to become free agents. I was tempted to just skip free agency, but I said, you know what, let's go through with it. So you guys remember how free agency is decided? It is random. We take the upper half of this randomized list, and they decide to not re-sign. Those are all of the guys who are leaving. We have Lloyd Rosado, Alejandro Sanchez, Henry Portis, Sean Leonard. You got Juan Urgeta leaving. Marcus Bryant, that's a big name. Apollo St. Patrick, a big name as well. So those are the guys who will leave their squads. And just looking at some of the names, I wonder if I missed a couple. I'm not sure. I'll have to go over it as we look at as we preview the roster heading into year 7. But there's a couple names on there. I was like, did I get them? I don't know. But those are the guys. We're going to start with the free agency, the Wheel of Destiny, Marcus Bryant. These will be the teams that would be interested in getting a center. And he is going to leave SoCal to go to Phoenix. So Phoenix already has Bam Adebayo, so I probably messed that up a little bit, but he is towards the end of his contract, and Marcus Bryant is a bona fide all-star. So they just said, yeah, we'll bring you on. You can never have too many big men, I guess. Apollo St. Patrick up next. He's going to leave Las Vegas for Kentucky. He's sick of barely missing the playoffs every year in Las Vegas, so he is going to sign with the Colliers. Juan Urgeta up next. A lot of teams interested there, and he will sign with Carolina. So they have a pretty good backcourt developing. You know, they got Daniel Rudd too, so we'll see how that works. Who is this? LeBron James is interested in returning to the XBA. He got sick of sitting on the sidelines for 2 years. He's coming back, and I think he's like 42 now. No Bronny James in this series, but SoCal Supernovas. So he's gonna stay in LA, I'm sure, or Anaheim and SoCal. I'm sure he's got a place down there in the XBA, even after not playing in Los Angeles, but he's back and playing. So Jamal Nkolo leaving Chicago. He will sign with the St. Louis Arrows. I'm sure Gold would be very happy with that if he were here. I think he liked Nkolo out of college. Henry Portis up next, the three-point threat, small forward. He's going to sign with Montreal, so that should help out the Gatiques quite a bit. And Lloyd Rosado, last but not least here. We're going to skip through the other ones. Tampa Bay Sting get Lloyd Rosado. So he was maybe looking for a little bit more playing time. Jimmy Butler's going to be on his way to the old folks' home soon. So we have here the playoffs. This is where we left you guys. The City Slickers beat the Nashville Tempo in 6. It was a pretty fun series, but ultimately City Slickers were in control of most of that. And you got to admire the fact that they survived those 2 Game 7 series against Toronto and Washington. They were on the ropes. Nashville was on the ropes against San Diego and Denver, and they held on. So both teams deserve to be there, and we're going to look ahead to next season. And I think it's going to be a little bit more of the same, because we didn't have mass free agency. We just had the year 1 draft class, maybe switching teams, and only half of that. So not too much player movement, but we're going to go through the draft lottery here really quick. I sped this up so we're not here all night, but so far you got Jacks, Leopards, Neptunes, and New York Neon. So now at the 16 spot, BC Chicago selecting there, St. Louis Arrows at 15. Arrows, this is new territory for them. They do not usually end up in the lottery, and the Vortex are going to rocket up the board as they mentioned on the screen there. Dragons 13, Atlanta Olympians go 12, Detroit Power up next at 11. It's no massive shockers here, but Vancouver, who has been involved with the lottery quite a bit, they get the good news. Looks like Columbus might go up. Columbus will be in the top 4 as the Monsters pick 9th. New York Neon, their pick that they got from Montreal, goes 8, Stampede 7, and Riptide up next. No, it will be the Fly Guys picking 6th. 5th, we'll go to the Supernovas. I bet they were hoping for something a little bit better. And then the Miami Night Owls. No, it will go to Columbus. So there's 3 teams left here. Miami with 11%. Looks like it'll go to Vancouver. 3rd, White Owls. Will this be their time? Yes. And then last but not least, that leaves us with the Honolulu Riptide, who really struggled last year, which is weird because it's the same championship nucleus, just without Michael Porter Jr. So I had a couple trades here. We're going to turn injuries off for year 7, but mostly this is to give the teams that are at the bottom of the standings, who are hopeless, got to give them something to play for this year, and also unclog some of these teams that are too deep with custom prospects, give them a new lease on life. You look at Miami sending Taylor, Cardoso, and Kane, guys who are deep reserves. They're going to get a new life in Miami. And then Will Carr going to Carolina as kind of a mini trade. Thibault can play forward. You got Camden Cunningham in Houston. He needs his minutes, so that's kind of the thought process there. I hope it was fair enough. I maybe could have sweetened the deal for Phillies a little bit in retrospect. But this is the draft summary here, just to give you guys a look at the player overall ratings. These guys probably aren't going to play a huge factor in season number 7, but the guard for Miami could be big, Park. So we're going to check out the coach game plan screens and give you guys a look here at how these teams are going to do in the season, and I'll give you my opinion. I like Philly's starting lineup. They look dynamite here. De'Aaron Fox is going to get benched, kind of. He is now the 6th man for Pognicon. You look at the Chili Dogs here. They got the horses. Floka, Ruka, all those guys, McFly, and I'm thinking of Hargrove. Yeah, Shaman Hargrove. So I liked how the Chili Dogs look. Nashville Tempo, Podgorica going to start a point guard because they don't have Alejandro Sanchez anymore, and we'll show you where they landed. But I don't know if this team is going to be good enough this upcoming season. I mean, I do think the loss of Sanchez is really, really going to hurt what they like to do offensively. BC Chicago, Booker, Oladipo, Paxson's going to start without Nkolo around. And you guys see the bench there, Demetrius Edwards, Okada, Maddox Denham landing in Chicago as well. Max Chen, last year's first-round draft pick. Basket Hounds, Bernard Colvin, Sean Leonard, Gordon Hayward, Zion Williamson, Asher Payne. So they acquire Sean Leonard through free agency, 84 overall from Vancouver. Marvell Pierre, going to see an uptick in minutes as well. And this is a lot of the same guys. They didn't do too great last year. Losing RJ Barrett took them a long time to really adjust and get into the flow there. So I could see Columbus turning things around. The Stags adding Gilgeous-Alexander. They're going to condense that bench depth into one rock-solid point guard. Austin Ford going to get significant minutes there, and so is Jerickson. So Ford and Jerickson look like they are making a big leap. But you guys see how deep this team is anyway. Darius Marshall and Van Vliet still on the bench, so they have so many guards on this Toronto team. The Leopards, Bishop, Levine, Hunter, Wood, and Nurkic. Kyle Kuzma there as well. George Foreman, the 7th. Nicole Gentry Jr., Dylan Fleck. It's a good team. I do think they should be in contention like they were last year. They signed Perry Jackson, power forward. Pittsburgh Paladins, Creighton, Ross, Barrett, Roscoe, and Bol. So this is pretty much the formula for Pittsburgh. They were fine last year without Towns. Having Tristan Thompson, Bol, and Roscoe and Bridges, I mean, everything just worked out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a big regression or a maintaining there. Like Kai Koya last year, had almost 6 points a game off the bench, so he should be a good contributor as well. The St. Louis Arrows, Buddy Mayer, Phoenix Watt, and Colo, Randall, and Pierre. This is like my team here. I'm looking out for these guys in year 7. I think they're going to have a big thing to say in determining who wins the XBA championship. But a really good bench too. They got Kobe Knight and Andre called up, so those guys are good to go from XBA 2 Oklahoma City. I know Kobe Knight was technically on the roster last year, but I don't think he played. So you'll get some minutes this year, and St. Louis is looking pretty good. Atlanta Olympians signed Alejandro Sanchez Jr., the runner-up in the XBA Finals last year. Very good distributing point guard, 84 overall. Sadchak right now an 87 overall to go with Max Boss. Dennis Pavard is up to an 80. How do you like that for an XBA 2 alum? Jabari Jackson also there as well. Chris Paul, He should have retired. He's 40 years old, you know? So, he's still Hopkins. I think that was the first round draft pick. I'm going to give those minutes to Zari Woods. Yep, and this is me checking out who's who here. I'll let him get his minutes. Amari Kane, Cardoso, Jason Beck, Calvin Hobbs, and Sabonis. You go with Mike King, Barney Webb, small forward. That's their top draft pick. He's gonna need to step up. And Jack Kaponen going to Miami as well. He's up to 79. Rui Hashimura made it back, and Artem Kozlov has been losing minutes over the years. Fly guys, Argata, Jamal Murray, Burnside, Mbassi, and Laterman. I still don't like this team. I think they are going to struggle big time, but you never know. Laterman showed a lot of good signs, and Burnside can score. The bench here has Rudd, Herter, Watford, and Will Carr. Will Carr landing in Carolina after that trade. Benji Adams, Wall, Bertans. What it is. I don't think they're in position to compete. Vancouver Vortex, got to make the playoffs this year. You have to make the playoffs. Shabadoo, Jekyll Hyde, Isaiah Thomas, Bagley, Nash, PJ Washington. To go with DJ Anthony, David Lubell, Damian Dillard. So, they've had all of these draft picks, and they haven't been drafting poorly, but it's just a matter of, is it going to mesh? AJ Menendez getting about the same minutes he had last year. To Ramos and Beck also on the bench as well. The Jacks signed Joshua Beaver, which is, it might be a bit of a stretch. A 76 overall starting point guard. That's probably one of the lower rated starting point guards in the XBA. I don't know if that will be good enough, but Beaver can distribute. He's that type of point guard. Pinza more of a 3-point shooter out of Italy. He didn't play much last year, 1.6 points per game, but he'll probably get a lot of minutes too. And let's go to the New York City Slickers. Still the same deal going on here. Ball, Anthony, Malik, Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson. That was your champion team last year, and they're coming back. So Ngoju Chembanuke also gets a few minutes at power forward. DeAndre Jordan. So they got three big guys that they can rely on. DJ Hard is more like a flex guy, maybe like small forward type there. Kansas City Stampede had a bad year last year. Morant, DeAndre Jones, Paul George, Grimes, Hartenstein, Bones. And then they're going to have Vince Cameron, Cobalt Andreas, and Aiden Stevko. So the young guys are going to have to step up if Kansas City going to do better this year. Theo Dawkins, Alexander Walker, LeBron James. There he is. St. Vincent, St. Mary's. Cameron Ranger, Rudy Hollow. So losing Marcus Bryant, I don't know. LeBron James, I kind of estimated how good he would be heading into 2025. Figured 88 overall would be fair, relative to the rest of the league. Cliff Caldwell was their draft pick, and they need Caldwell and Lachlan Chisholm to play well too, because again, they just have a deficit at their big man spot. So, do they have a true center? I don't know. Rudy Hollow's over 7 feet. So. Sting, Alvarez, Butler. They had Laterman, Shakir Nader, Nas Dunstan, and Rosado. Lloyd Rosado is supposed to average about 25 minutes a game. So he's an 84 overall. He's going to be a crucial piece to what the Sting try to do this year. I'm sure of that. Draymond Green, he's on the outs. I was thinking, though, I was probably going to give some minutes there to Oliver, because he didn't play last year very much, and he needs some love here. Jaquan Terry Feather at reserve. One of my favorite names. Alan Park. Oh, So Park went to the Riptide. He's a 76 overall. I don't know what they want to do there, because they have Maverick Blitz, and they have Scotty Lewis, and they have Orlando Champion. So, Champion, he's regressing a little bit from that championship year, the Western Conference championship year. They're going to just give the minutes to the young guy, I think, and see how that goes. They're going to sign Lamilton Tayshaun in free agency. So New York Neon, RJ Hampton, Kemmerly, Lyons, Harris, Drummond. Got Jaquel Houston, Colton Kemmerly, Marcus Smart. So the bench is looking pretty good here. Zach Collins, Quincy Waugh, Ian Hyden, a lot of XBA 2 guys. They signed Sylvester Forbes. That was the one guy when I was looking at that list. I'm like, where did Forbes end up going? I don't remember. But there he is in New York, so maybe he'll get some more minutes there. Rusi, was one of the rookies last year. Trying to find some minutes for him, so give him something there. Denver Summit. These guys are going to contend. They got the same starting five. Lonzo Ball still there as sixth man. Still have Infali Dante, Horace Hill, and Terrence Bell. So, Infali Dante, I don't know what he's doing in real life, but I remember him as a big prospect, and he was projected to go in the 2020 draft somewhere, according to the mock drafts I was looking at. And lo and behold, I don't know where he is, but here he is in Denver doing work. All right, Apollo St. Patrick, the free agent signing. Look at this team. They got St. Patrick, Savage, Forbes, Jeremy Grant, and Embiid. Malcolm Brogdon, he's getting a little bit older now as an 81 overall still, but he's going to get good minutes there. And Paxson, this is like a super guard-heavy team here. So they need some of their bigger guys like Pluto Von Prado and Mark Edouard to pick up good minutes and really contribute. Randall Bush was the draft pick. Not who I would have picked, knowing what this team looked like. New Orleans Neptunes, they're going to give this another go. Lillard, Thompson, Leonard. It has not been very successful. And now it's 2025, 2026 season. So these guys are they're starting to get over the hill a little bit. And it's just, can they keep up with the younger stars developing in this league? Guys like St. Patrick and CJ Thomas and Blackman and all those guys. Be interesting to see how they manage to pull that off. Detroit Power, they got Rondé Russell, Cedric Machado Rainford, Brandon Ingram, Dalton Jett, who was productive. He's an offensive threat, even though he's a 78, and Rudy Gobert. So the bench right now has Dosunmu. Javon Rosens was big last year for Detroit. He's going to see an increased role in his third professional season, second year in the XBA. Still have good bench pieces: Obi Toppin, Brian Oubre, OJ Cooper, and then Bryant Rodman. What a name. Out of Syracuse, drafted 11th overall. Jesse Head, I felt bad about keeping him on reserve, but I couldn't find minutes for him. But yeah, he's contributed over the years. Henry Portis, the new addition here in Montreal. Let's see if they do better. I mean, Wingate, I don't know if Wingate is good enough at power forward, but they were kind of stuck at power forward. Not a lot of options. Jackson Gordon, I think, can play a little bit of power forward. And Steven Sampson, Heath, they're going to have to mix those guys in. Ronan Laterman had 8 points per game last year, so I had to give him more minutes. Probably go from Robinson, some of the guards, spread the love around a little bit. But yeah, that's Montreal. I think their best days are behind them, unfortunately. Alaska Chill here, Jameer Sakura, Kevin Porter, Giannis, Blake Griffin at a 77 overall. He's still plowing away. Mohamed Bamba, 86. So they have 3 good centers, and Apollo Steele can slip in and play power forward as well. But I mean, his primary is center, but still going to get good minutes, 19 a game. Omar Jakonde, I noticed him get better over the years. Here's Houston after that trade. They need Thibault, they need him to play small forward a little bit because he got Josh Green and Cunningham. So those guys, they're rock solid. They got 4 really good guards to go with Sexton, D'Angelo Russell. So they just didn't need those guys per se. So that's how Houston looks. Should look pretty good. Jamison Kendrick getting 13.4 points per game last year in that increased role. He's still 79. So I was hoping he might improve a little bit, but he didn't go up by much. Darnell Creed's going to take over and start at center. 7'4" out of Tulane for Darnell Creed. So I like the way that Wisconsin is looking. I mean, he'll probably start over Boucher and get a lot of minutes, and I expect him to have a very productive season. So, their bench, though. The bench might be a weak spot. Jacksonville Jump, I think they got to be in the conversation to win the Eastern Conference this year. I know playoff run last year ended in the second round against the upstart Chili Dogs, but when I think of Markkanen, Mitchell, and Steph Curry, that's as good a threesome, I think, as you're going to find around the league. I mean, it's definitely in the top 3 or 4. Don't know about the rest of the team, though. I mean, we're going to need Magnus Peterson to really come into his own. Phoenix Monsters with Marcus Bryant. I feel like that could be their X factor. Missing Devin Booker has not worked out very well for this team. They've been relying on Murray and Halliburton. But their big guys are good. They got Portis, Adebayo, Bryant, and Gregory. Vanderbilt, kind of that tweener, maybe a little more athletic, but just messing around here. Probably had a few too many big guys, but be that as it may. So they should be fixed. Phoenix should be good. I'm looking for them to, I don't know where they're going to finish. I think it'll be towards the middle of the pack, honestly. Marcus Bryant, maybe he had a relative there. He wanted to go live in the good weather. I don't know, but it was a bit of a luxury ad for Phoenix. Like I said, I probably could have taken Phoenix off of there, and he probably would have gone to a more realistic option, but I screwed up. So he's going to Phoenix. San Diego Cyclones, I think they are the odds-on favorite to win the Western Conference, but they're going to have to go through Denver and Seattle, so you don't know how that's going to work out. Just looking at their bench is really good. I mean, I like Bankston. They got this dude who is a 75, and they needed a big guy, so we're just going to let him play, I guess, out of Turkey. California Dragons, that experiment didn't quite work out last year with Bradley Beal at small forward. They weren't as good as I thought they would be. Malachi Hendricks, a power forward, maybe it's a liability with him playing a little bit out of position. I'm not sure. Joseph Jones, they're going to lean on him more this year. He's been a guy who has been good enough to play. Maybe this is the chance that he'll get. San Jose Cyborgs, they're still rolling with Zach Zumwalt at small forward. Kevin Love is definitely over the hill, but when you look at what they did last year, the way they made the playoffs, I do like the Cyborgs this year. I don't know if they're going to be that team, but I like their young guys like Chris Smoove, Michigan State, 7.2 points a game. Only 6 feet, but guy is a good athletic shooter and player. And, Stefano Siegel's been plowing his trade there. Kelvin Justice, Jack King, Nikhil Chug. So I like the youth on the bench. I will say that. Martians got to be the other favorite in the Western Conference. Right now they have Leo Guerrero over Denny. I hate saying his last name. I don't watch Washington Wizards basketball, so I hate screwing his last name up. The bench, though, really good. Pluto Pierre, James Tashy still around doing his thing. I like where the Martians are situated. El Paso Peppers, James Harden, you've been the face of the league, I have to say. You're on our thumbnail, so he's 36. So this is going to be probably about it. I mean, it only goes downhill from here, James. So if you are going to win that XBA title, you're going to have to do it in El Paso with this ragtag squad of guys who are something. I've never figured out what it is about the El Paso Peppers and the players that they acquire. Everybody's just like a little bit off in some way. Some kind of unique talent, like a one-trick pony, unique skill set, funny names. I don't know what it is, but Washington Founders. This is a team they're definitely going to make the playoffs. I can almost guarantee that. How far they go, though, it's going to depend on how far Addis Savchek can take these guys. Got a lot of young options on the bench as well. And I do like what the Founders are bringing to the table. Looking at the Eastern Conference here, I like Philly. I like Atlanta with Alejandro Sanchez. Tampa Bay, I think, is in a good spot. But Toronto, New York, I feel like should probably be the two favorites in the Eastern Conference to go alongside Washington. Kentucky, I do think Kentucky will make the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to be a huge threat. I do think Jacksonville, Pittsburgh will also make the postseason. But we'll see. Western Conference right now. I don't like Kansas City. I feel like they just don't have the right mix post-Luka. I don't think it's going to work. SoCal, I do expect them to improve by quite a bit. But Marcus Bryant was the centerpiece of this team. And without him, I do think they are not going to stand a chance in how deep this Western Conference is. Denver, I do think, will be a major player. I would look for California to turn things around a little bit. Vancouver's got to make the postseason. I think this is it. I do think Vancouver will get in. Nashville, New Orleans, hard to say. I don't think both of them will get in. I'd guarantee you one does. in that Southwest division. Houston should be in contention in that division as well. And then San Diego in the Pacific, I think they should easily win that division. St. Louis, I love St. Louis this year. You don't always hear me say that, but I do think Nkola will completely round this thing out. So we are going to begin the simulation here. And I'm on Columbus right now. So we're going to see how the Columbus Basket Hounds can do. Right now, they are over 500, so no big shocker here. Beat the Jacksonville Jump. Lose to Kentucky. Lose to the Riptide. Night Owls, of course. No big shocker there. It's about where I expected Columbus to be. So we'll check out the standings here as we get through November 30th. We got the Chili Dogs, Stags, Power Bandits. The Central Division's doing really well. Montreal at 11-6. Who saw that coming? We get to the bottom here. Philly at 6-12. That's kind of disappointing. Seattle 12-3. St. Louis 12-6. Alaska playing pretty well. New Orleans at 11-6 with a negative point differential by -5. 5 games over with a -5 point differential. Go figure. Get a lot of close wins. San Diego Cyclones 8-12. That's shocking. Riptide 3-13, man. What's up with that? SoCal Supernovas. I don't think LeBron is fixing them with an negative 11 point differential. So let's go to the end of December. Going here. I'm still on Columbus. Poor Vortex. Poor Vancouver Vortex. Poor Phoenix, too. Like, just have not had a lot of mojo since they won that XBA final in year 3 against Pittsburgh. Looks like, so far, it does look like the Central Division is the division to beat in the Eastern Conference. I'm just looking at, like, Detroit unexpectedly. I mean, look at this. Wisconsin, Detroit, Columbus. So the top 3 teams are all from the same division. And then you got Pittsburgh and Chicago in the mix as well. Philly's turning things around a little bit. Jump in Washington are not playing very well either. You got Martians, Arrows, Chill towards the top. So it does still look like the Western Conference is the better conference for whatever reason. Vancouver, not doing too hot. Oh my God, the Supernovas. 4-22, and then the Cyclones at 13-20. That's shocking. Take a look at some of the numbers here. I saw Forbes and Malik Jones towards the top. Kimberly Boss, Cartwright, Rolando Bishop, no big shocker there. Diamantacos, Blackman, Machado, Rainford, CJ Thomas. I'm going pretty fast, but you guys can pause at any moment. You see the player that you like there. Those are the top point scorers. Let's check out the rebounders. Jin Hao leading the way with Capella, Gobert, Ayton, Zion Williamson, 12 boards per game. Towns, Naz Dunstan, Marcus Bryant, Joel Embiid, your top 10 rebounders. As we look at the assists, Tyrese Halliburton's leading the XBA, 11 assists per game. LaMelo, Sean Leonard, who's playing shooting guard with 9 assists per game. AJ Creighton, Alejandro Sanchez, Walsh, Bishop, Simmons. So let's keep going here. We are going to simulate all of January. See how far we get here. I'm now on SoCal, Supernovas. I think I was messing around with like the coach strategy because I'm trying to figure out why this team is this miserable. And it might just be because relatively the rest of the league is so highly rated. You know, like you look at the base 2K rosters and it's like all these teams, the whole starting 5 is like 80 plus. So maybe on paper it doesn't look terrible, but there's the Western Conference. I do like I told you I like where the arrows are at. California Dragons 21-16. Riptide coming back a little bit. Stampede have dropped 7 in a row. Cyclones are still struggling, 18-23. I'd love to know what their problem is. SoCal Supernova is now down to 6-30. Columbus Basket Hounds are in first. Basket Hounds, Paladins, Stags, Detroit. Chicago's won 3 in a row, and Wisconsin. So the top 5 teams in the XBA Central Division. Chili Dogs are still 500 too. New York's dropped 4 in a row. They are under 500, and so is Washington. That's shocking to me. But Kentucky, I think, is more shocking than anything. The fact that Kentucky is struggling here. But we're going to get through the trade deadline here. We're not going to make any trades, but let's check out the All-Star team at least, and we're just going to simulate, see who made it. I'm just going to focus on our guys. Looking for Marcus Anthony, Jerome Blackman. Blackman making his first All-Star team. Malik Jones, a captain, so that's pretty cool. Wayne Cartwright. Rhymes Porter, his third nomination. CJ Thomas, his first time. Marcus Bryant, Kemmerly, and Max Boss. So I thought Forbes would be on here, but no Brett Forbes. Max Boss getting the nod there. And Seattle right now still holding on to first place. Nashville tempo, 30-16. Pretty good on their end. The Vancouver Vortex, 26-22. The Stampede, wow. I'm kind of surprised that they're still hanging on. San Diego Cyclones, though, man, 21-26. That's bad news. Detroit is in first place in the Eastern Conference. Wow. Kudos to the Detroit Power. But look at Cincinnati now moving up. That Central Division is insane right now. Kentucky Colliers, there you go. They've won 7 straight. So they are back into the thick of things. Atlanta, a little disappointed. The Southeast Division, oh my God. Southeast Division have the bottom 5 teams in the XBA. So Kentucky is in a good spot because Kentucky is the only team that's at level here. So sophomores beat the rookies. You guys can see the box score there. No surprise over our CPU-generated rookie class. Malik had 13 in the All-Star game. Pretty low-scoring All-Star game, if you ask me. But let's plow through the rest of this season, guys. Season 7. Russians got a couple wins in a row there. Seattle's got to feel pretty good here heading into the playoffs. And make no doubt about it, they have essentially clinched a spot in the playoffs. Going to beat the Neptunes there twice, so that's tough. Couple defeats here for New Orleans. No shocker there either to beat Miami Night Owls. So Seattle has first team to clinch here at 44-17. You got Nashville, Vegas right now in the 3 slot. Alaska, St. Louis, Denver, Houston, California, San Diego. So San Diego can leapfrog into the playoffs by winning the Pacific Division. Right now, that's the division that the Jacks are leading. Vancouver at 31-31. The freaking Neptunes are 29-33. Disappointing. Probably disappointing for the LA Leopards, too, to be where they are at. Detroit, first place in the Eastern Conference at 38-24. Go figure. And then you got Toronto, Kentucky. So Kentucky is leading the Southeast Division at 500 right now. And then you got the other Central teams, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Chicago, New York, and then Cincinnati. So the only non-Central team there is the City Slickers out of all the at-large teams. Tampa Bay's 30-31, so they have a chance. They can catch Kentucky. And I wouldn't put it, obviously Washington, Jacksonville can catch as well. So those teams aren't out of the playoffs yet, even though time is winding down here. Kentucky beating Tampa Bay, so that's going to be big. They're going to hold them off. And it looks like Kentucky's starting to surge with their 4th win in a row over the Neon. They're going to lose to El Paso and lose to the Dragons. Pittsburgh right now in first place. Detroit's dropped to the 4th spot. New York has vaulted into 2nd. They're duking it out with the Stags to win the Atlantic Division. And then Jacksonville 32-25. So pretty light bubble this year, it looks like. Jacksonville probably not going to make it. So not a ton of drama. Looks like Philly is the only team on the outside looking in right now that has a chance. And let's go to the Western Conference. Vegas holding on to the 3 spot. Nashville at 42-25. So, well, Nashville's in the Southeast. So yeah, they would for the Southwest. Cyclones right now in the 8th seed. Looks like Collier's going to lose to the Bandits. As we check out some more box scores here. Houston going on to Alaska. Stags with the win. That's big for the Stags. Check out the standings. Again, I simulated another couple days. Cincinnati has clinched a playoff bid. So it looks like Tampa Bay, Kentucky would be the last teams in the East. And the Western Conference right now, Seattle, Nashville, Vegas. Houston drops to 7. San Diego would be the 8th seed. California duking it out here, guys. So we simulated another day. Nothing on the line there. And let's simulate the final day of the season. And we will unveil the bracket here. Malik Jones, your MVP. Got almost 20 or 30 points a game. Barney Webb, your Rookie of the Year. Lloyd Rosado, 6th man. New addition in Tampa, Mitchell Robinson gets Defensive Player of the Year. Most improved goes to Amari Kane, 11 points per game. Taylor Jenkins, head coach for the Seattle Martians, getting the nod, 49 and 21 overall. All right, let's look at the All-XBA first team. You got Rolando Bishop, LaMelo Ball, Malik Jones, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis. All-second team, CJ Thomas, Tyler Walsh, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Mondre Grimes Porter, Karl Anthony Towns. So you had 3 custom guys there, and let's take a look at the All-XBA third team. Marcus Anthony, Morant, Max Boss, Wayne Cartwright, and Marcus Bryant. So 4 custom guys. You can tell they're working their way up the pecking order. Eventually, if they haven't already, we're going to take over the league, guys. CJ Thomas, all defensive team. That's kind of surprising. And Shakir Nader and Alejandro Sanchez getting the nod there. So this is our bracket, guys. You got Seattle, California, St. Louis, Denver, San Diego, Houston. San Diego, by winning the Pacific, by beating out Vegas on that final day, gets all the way up to the 3 seed. Alaska, Nashville. You got Pittsburgh, Toronto again as the 8 seed. Columbus, Detroit, a huge 4-5 matchup. Kentucky winning the Southeast gets the 3 seed. Chicago, the 6, and then New York, Cincinnati, rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. This time New York is a 2 seed by virtue of winning the Atlantic. So the Central was where it was at in the Eastern Conference. You guys see the standings there. Let's see all the Central teams. Tampa Bay tied Kentucky for that last spot, lost by a game, and then Jacksonville was a game behind those teams. Vancouver finishing 35 and 35, so it is official. Vancouver has never made the playoffs. And then the Jacks losing that final game to Chicago again. For a team in Las Vegas, the Jacks are extremely unlucky. So let's just say that. All right, we're going to simulate to the entire postseason. Like I've said before, my goal was to at least have the XBA final gameplay for you guys, but I got sick right before New Year's and wasn't able to finish it. So this is what we got right now. It looks like the San Diego Cyclones are starting to round into form. We got a sweep at the top too, Seattle, California, and the City Slickers winning in 7. So we got a lot of game 7s in the Eastern Conference. Looks like we'll have Seattle, St. Louis, San Diego, Nashville, Pittsburgh, Columbus, New York, and Chicago. Chicago beating Kentucky. Yeah, I thought Kentucky was going to win that one. So I'll just check the box scores out really quick here. Just the final games of each series. Jamal Nkolo, Pierre. How about triple-double for Andrew Pierre? Game 4 in the sweep went to San Diego, 112-88. Justice Bettis with 27 points. Nashville trying to recapture that playoff mojo. All right, Game 6 went to 1-point win for Pittsburgh. Game 7 goes to Columbus, 107-81. Just not enough magic for Detroit. Game 7 went to Chicago, 94-87. Cartwright had 22. Malik Jones had 30 points in Game 7 to beat out the Chili Dogs, 104-95. So let's check this out here. We're going to simulate again, round 2. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Pittsburgh and Seattle looks like going to go down. So our conference finals, you got the 3-4 matchup in the Western Conference. Porzingis 30 points, but nothing doing. 111-104 win in game number 5 for the Arrows. Jamal Nkolo with 18. Okay, so Nkolo's been pretty good. And this was a rematch of the Western Conference Finals. Bettis again leading the way with 27 points, 119-81. Game 4, this was a blowout. Sean Leonard 32, 135-99. Paladins got steamrolled here in the conference semifinals. And Chicago beat the City Slickers in 5. Devin Booker with 35 points. He is an XBA champion, of course. So let's keep going. Got the 4-6, 3-4 matchups. And it looks like we're even up after 2. And this is where I was supposed to kick in the gameplay. Well, I was going to simulate one more game. Goes to San Diego and Columbus. So I was supposed to leave it here, start having gameplay, but this is where I got sick. And so we're just going to keep going, simulating. It's going to be the Cyclones and the Basket Hounds. 2 teams that have been close over the years, and it looks like it will be San Diego Cyclones have entered the Champions Club. Anthony Davis, your finals MVP. And this is a team that was close last year. You got to give the Basket Hounds credit, though. They did not have a great year last year, and they did put it together to where they were extremely competitive. And because we didn't have any official footage, here we go. This was from the locker room right here. He's got the official swag on, Anthony Davis. And oh, look, it's Justice Bettis hanging out, peeking out behind Davis's shoulder. What do you know? Well, let's check out the top 100 stats. We're going to go through this pretty quick. If you guys see your guy, you want to see how they did in year 7, you can probably pause it and check it out. You know, I thought Forbes got hosed. I mean, it might have been the position he was playing, but the fact that he was 4th in the league in scoring, he didn't get an All-Star nomination, and he didn't even get any All-XBA love. So that was a little surprising to me, but we'll keep going down the list here. Blackman, 27th in the league. Hendricks this year, 29th in points per game. Kennedy Alvarez. Turner. Podgorica, 36. That was a guy that, you know, I love the name. I would have liked to see where his career went, but sadly, this is going to be the last we ever see of him in the XBA here. Justice Bettis, 56th. 16 points per game. Paulo St. Patrick in the top 60 at least. You know, he had to share it. Brett Forbes, you know, being the ball hog and all. Preston Burnside, 72nd in the league in scoring. LeBron was 79th, so he was not going to help the Supernovas out. Not at age 40. I don't think that was going to happen. Luka, 95th. He really embraced that role of being a distributor. And then you got Laderman, Hobbs, and Dawkins to round out the top 100. Doing a brief recap here. The XBA Champion Circle. You guys know all this stuff. San Diego, New York, KC, Atlanta, Phoenix, Kentucky, Alaska. Alaska winning the very first one. You have the RIP Circle, Baltimore, Dallas, and Boston. They did not finish it out. They did not make it to the end of the series, so everybody shed a tear for those teams and franchises. And then we have the XBA Hall of Shame, the only member, the Vancouver Vortex, the only franchise that never made it to the playoffs. Also put together a list of our cover athletes. These are guys that were on our thumbnails. Giannis and Luka took the honors with 9 different times they were on the thumbnail. James Harden, kind of our cover athlete, had 8. Malik Jones, the top custom prospect, with 8. They had Zion at 7, Mitchell, LeBron, Curry, the only guys at 6, nobody at 5. You had Davis, Lillard, Sobchak, Irving, and Trae Young also had 4 appearances apiece. So you can tell where my bias tends to go towards. It'd be Luka, Giannis, Harden, Malik Jones. Then we have our guys who graced the cover 3 times: Simmons, Booker, Vine, Tatum, Towns, and Leonard. And then the guys that have been on twice, you had St. Patrick, just looking for our guys specifically, Kennedy Alvarez, and that does it for there. You know, we got the regular superstars. Yusuf Nurkic, though, just because he was on the jump, I guess. And the first time he was on the cover, he was on his backside. And then we have the one-time guys, the Zagarach, you had Kozlov, Artie St. Patrick, Austin Forbes, Brett Forbes, Brian Oubre, Colton Kemmerly, just going through our guys specifically. Henry Portis, you had Jamal Turner, Joe Beck, Justice Bettis. So yeah, looking for like the random guys would be like Jahlil Okafor for sure. Probably not good enough typically, you would think. Kent Bazemore, though, and Wesley Awundu, I think, take the cake. Those are definitely the most random guys. We had Kobe Bryant, unfortunately, rest in peace. Yeah, Lance Stevenson, also kind of random, although he's playing defense. Lloyd Rosado, McFly, guys like that. The one guy that was never on the cover of a thumbnail was CJ Kemmerly. Couldn't believe it. I mean, that's a total oversight. He was like a star in the series. I didn't even put him on once. So I had a little mini Ask Me Anything here, some pre-submitted questions I just want to go over. Do you think you would ever do a college basketball series like the presentation of XBA, but instead in college? I doubt it outside of a side mini-series, because you guys know we like to do college sports, kind of create a team college. We might like do some basketball for fun, but it wouldn't be a full-blown series. So who was the sponsor for today's video? Well, it definitely is not Squarespace or Raid Shadows Legend. Is that it? It's none of those two. Those are not the sponsors for today's video. I can say that for sure. How about this one? When Marcus Anthony inevitably falls down a rapid spiral into total madness and is found guilty of murder, what would his last meal be on death row? I'm going to go with porridge. that sounds like something that, it's really homely, very, earthy, that kind of deal. What was your favorite moment / game during the series? Well, there's a lot, and I mean, you have to go back and look through all of them. I do like the Year 3 conference finals between Pittsburgh and Columbus. They had a Game 7 that went into overtime. The end of the game was very contentious, so I'd probably pick that one. Where do you think you burnt out on this series? And if you could change anything about your approach to it, what would you change? Well, Gold burnt out early. I burnt out towards the end, mostly because it lacked the community presence. Like, we weren't actively searching for feedback, and that kind of tends towards people dropping out. Like, we dropped the contests and the prospects and that kind of thing. So, if we were still going, I'm sure it'd be more fun, but we're just playing it out for the hardcore fans at this point. Was there ever a time where you thought 1 or 2 seasons would be the most perfect length, or did you see it as a multi-year experience? It was always going to be multi-year. I wanted to get up to 10 seasons, but we did not go fast enough early. I did want the first and second seasons, I wanted to be drawn out a little bit, just so people got familiar with the teams and stuff, but, COVID hit, and we lost a lot of time there. How did you come up with team names? Well, I just like team creation. And as far as professional sports, I like a lot of stuff from the 70s and the 90s. So that's kind of where the majority of the influence was with the XBA. How are you able to make the logos? We made a handful of them, and you can probably tell which ones, the ones that look the worst, we made. And the majority, though, we contracted an artist. And we usually use Fiverr for that because it's affordable. And a lot of guys do a good job on there. What's the next project on the horizon? We are looking at college football, and that's all I'll tell you, and I can't spoil it, but it is going to be coming very, very soon. So just know that. We were waiting to finish XBA before we unveiled that series, so it is in the pipeline. What team had the coolest name in your opinion? Well, I like the Jump and the Peppers. Those are my 2 teams. Gold and I had a debate. If I picked, because we wanted to be in different conferences, if I picked Jacksonville, he would be St. Louis. If I picked El Paso, he would have been the Miami Night Owls. So Miami is up there as well. That probably would have changed the flavor of the series, too. What was your favorite XBA finals? I kind of liked Atlanta, Honolulu, but, Pittsburgh, Phoenix was good, too. So it's hard to say, but I would pick one of those 2. Will you do this again? Of course, the $1 million question here. Will you do this again in another NBA game? Well, I've discussed that with the owner of the channel, which is not me. But it is something we're thinking about, and it'll depend on a lot of factors because, he's got his family life. I've got my work situation. I don't necessarily know how that'll play out in the near future as well. We don't know if World War III is going to break out. Might be massive food shortages and stuff like that. So you never know. Nuclear exchange, who knows? So I can't promise anything, but we're going to sort of regroup and reconsider around August. As far as I can tell, it's on the table. And I would like to promise something, but I can't promise that. And I don't want to tease you guys and be like, it's coming, it's really coming, and then we don't end up doing it. But it is something that we're thinking about. So I'll just say that, and we will figure out the details later as time moves on. But this is now officially the end of the series. We have reached it, and I just wanted to thank the guys that were active in the Discord. First off, all the patrons for sure. That helped out the channel. Anybody that submitted a prospect, even if you did not get chosen, we appreciate you guys playing the contest and just staying a part of the series. But I also want a special shout out to the guys that were active in the Discord, the guys that created a lot of the prospects, Brian Streets and Heel Boy, Keneal, and Portugal. If I'm missing anybody, just I would apologize, because that would be because you're probably working with Gold. But those are the people that I know that were very helpful in terms of making our prospects. Yeah, this is it, guys. I'd like to thank Gold for letting me do this series, because I we wanted to do it, but it was something that I really, really wanted to do, and I pushed him towards doing it. And obviously, he hosted it here, and obviously, I kind of took over the day-to-day operation there for the last, 6 months or so, 6 or 7 months, 8 months, I don't know. But I'd like to thank him for that, because if you didn't want to do it, then ultimately you guys would never have gotten to see the series and have a lot of fun with that too. So on that note, I'm going to leave you guys to it, and you can always rewatch the series. You can always go back. I'm sure there's stuff that I don't remember. That's why when they asked me if I had a favorite moment, it was kind of hard to remember, because we have a lot of very good regular season games, a lot of crazy stuff like that. But I might not have to rewatch the series someday and just kind of poke out all the flaws and stuff. But it was a good run. It was fun. I'm gonna miss it in a way. Editing it towards the end when we were kind of bleeding viewership, it was a little bit tough, but we wanted to finish it off on the right note and get you guys your 7 seasons worth, because when you get prospects, you want to see how their career unfolds, and ultimately that would take 15 seasons, right? But unfortunately, we never made it that far. But I do want to thank you guys for your viewership, and we will see you some other time.